Welcome friends, I am Ratnakar Tandel, a teacher in Jnandeep High School, Karave, Navi Mumbai. Welcome you in Read a Lesson a Day program for Standard 10 Marathi Medium. This program will encourage students to read and will develop habit of reading. Let's read The Boy Who Broke the Bank by Ruskin Bond. Ruskin Bond, 1934, is an Indian author of British descent. He lives with his adopted family in Landore in Mussoorie, India. The Indian Council for Child Education has recognized his role in the growth of children's literature in India. He got the Sahitya Academy Award in 1992 for Our Trees Still Grow in Dehra. He was awarded Padma Shri and Padma Bhushan respectively in 1999 and 2014. Nathu grumbled to himself as he swept the steps of Pipalnagar Bank, owned by Seth Govindram. He used the small broom hurriedly and carelessly, and the dust, after raising in a cloud above his head, settled down again on the steps. As Nathu was banging his pan against the dustbin, Sitaram, the washerman's son, passed by. Sitaram was on his delivery round. He had a bundle of freshly pressed clothes balanced on his head. "Don't raise such dust," he called out to Nathu. "Are you annoyed because they are still refusing to pay you an extra rupee a month?" "I don't wish to talk about it," complained Sweeper Boy. "I haven't even received my regular pay, and this is the 20th of the month. Who would think a bank would hold up a poor man's salary? As soon as I got my money, I am off. Not another week. I work in the place." And Nathu banged the pan against the dustbin several times, just to emphasize his point and giving himself confidence. "Well, I wish you luck," said Sitaram. "I shall keep a lookout for any job that might suit you." And he plodded barefoot along the road, the big bundle of clothing hiding almost his head and shoulders. At the fourth home he visited, Sitaram heard the lady of the house mention that she was in a need of a sweeper. Tying his bundle together, he said, "I know a sweeper boy who is looking for work. He can start from next month. He is with a bank just now, but they aren't giving him his pay and he wants to leave." "Is that so?" said Mrs. Srivastava. "Well, tell him to come and see me tomorrow." And Sitaram, glad that he had been of service to both a customer and his friend, hoisted his bag on his shoulder and went his way. Mrs. Srivastava had to some shopping. She gave instructions to the ayah about looking after the baby and told the cook not to be late with the midday meal. Then she set out for the Pipalnagar marketplace to make her customary tour of the clothes shops. A large shady termine tree grew at one end of the bazaar, and it was here that Mrs. Srivastava found her friend Mrs. Bhushan sheltering from the heat. Mrs. Bhushan was fanning herself with a large handkerchief. She complained of the summer, which she affirmed was definitely the hottest in the history of Pipalnagar. She then showed Mrs. Srivastava a sample of the cloth she was going to buy, and for 5 minutes they discussed its shade, texture, and design. Having exhausted this topic, Mrs. Srivastava said, "Do you know, my dear, that Seth Govindram's bank can't even pay its employees? Only this morning I heard a complaint from their sweeper, who hasn't received his wages for over a month." "Shocking," remarked Mrs. Bhushan. "If they can't pay the sweeper, they must be in a bad way. None of the other could be getting paid either." She left Mrs. Srivastava at the termine tree and went in search of her husband, who was sitting in front of Kamal Kishore's photography shop, talking with the owner. "So, there you are," cried Mrs. Bhushan. "I have been looking for you for almost an hour. Where did you disappear? Nowhere, replied Mr. Bhushan. Had you remained stationary in one shop, I might have found you, but you go from one shop to another like a bee in a flower garden. Don't start grumbling. The heat is trying enough. I don't know what's happening to Pimple Nagar. Even the bank about to go bankrupt. What's that? Said Kamal Kishore, sitting up suddenly. Which bank? Why? The Pimple Nagar Bank, of course. I hear they have stopped paying employees. Don't tell me you have an account there, Mr. Kishore. No, but my neighbor has. He exclaimed. He called out over the low partition to the keeper of the barber shop next door. Dipchand, have you heard the latest? The Pimple Nagar Bank is about to collapse. You would better get your money out as soon as you can. Deepchand, who was cutting the hair of an elderly gentleman, was so startled that his hand shook and he nicked his customer's right ear. The customer yelped with pain and distress. Pain because of the cut and distress because of the awful news he had just heard. With one side of his neck still unshaven, he sped across the road to the general merchant store, where there was a telephone. He dialed Seth Govindram's number. The Seth was not at home. Where was he then? The Seth was holidaying in Kashmir. Oh, was that so? The elderly gentleman did not believe it. He hurried back to the barber's shop and told Deepchand, the bird has flown. Said Govindram has left town. Definitely, it means a collapse. And then he dashed out of the shop, making a beeline for his office and checkbook. The news spread through the bazaar with rapidity of the forest fire. From the general merchants, it traveled to the shop, circulated among the customers, and then spread with them in various directions to the betel seller, the tailor, the free vendor, the jeweler, the beggar sitting on the pavement. Old Ganpat, the beggar, had a crooked leg. He had been squatting on the pavement for years, calling for alms. In the evening, someone would come with burro and take him away. He had never been known to walk, but now, on learning that the bank was about to collapse, Ganpat astonished everyone, leaping to his feet and actually running at a top speed in the direction of the bank. It soon became known that he had 1,000 rupees in saving. Men stood in group at street corner discussing the situation. Pimple Nagar seldom had a crisis. Seldom or never had flood, earthquakes or drought. And the imminent crash of the Pimple Nagar Bank set everyone talking and speculating and rushing about in frenzy. Some boasted of their foresightedness, congratulating themselves on having already taken out their money or on never having put any in. Others speculated on the reason for the crash, putting it all down to excesses indulged in by Seth Govindram. The Seth had fled the state, said one. He had fled the country, said another. He was hiding in Pimple Nagar, said a third. He had hanged himself from the termite tree, said a fourth, and had been found that morning by the sweeper boy. By noon, the small bank had gone through all its ready cash, and the harassed manager was in a dilemma. Emergency fund could only be obtained from another bank some 30 miles distance, and he wasn't sure he could persuade the crowd to wait until then. And there was no way of contacting Seth Govindram on his houseboat in Kashmir. People were turned back from the counters and told to return the following day. They did not like the sound of that, and so they gathered outside on the step of the bank shouting, "Give us our money, or we shall break it, and fetch the Seth. We know he is hiding in a safe deposit locker." Mischief makers who didn't have a paisa in the bank joined the crowd and aggravated their moods. The manager stood at the door and tried to placate them. He declared that the bank had plenty of money but no immediate means of collecting it. He urged them to go home and come back the next day. "We want it now," chanted some of the crowd. "Now, now, now." And a brick hurled through the air and crashed through the plate glass window of the Pimple Nagar Bank. Nathu arrived next morning to sweep the steps of the bank. He saw the refuse and the broken glass and the stones cluttering the steps. Raising his hands in a gesture of horror and disgust, he cried, "Hooligans, sons of donkeys," as though it isn't bad enough to be paid late. It seems my work has also been increased. He smote the step with his broom, scattering the refuse. "Good morning, Nathu," said the washerman's boy, getting down from his bicycle. "Are you ready to take up a new job from the first of the next month?" "You will have to, I suppose, now that the bank is going out of business." "How's that?" said Nathu. "Haven't you heard?" "Well, you would better wait here until half the population of Pimple Nagars arrive to claim their money." And he waved cheerfully. He did not have a bank account and sped away on his cycle. Nathu went back to sweeping the steps, muttering to himself. When he had finished his work, he sat down on the highest step to wait the arrival of the manager. He was determined to get his pay. Who would have thought the bank would collapse? He said to himself, and looked thoughtfully into the distance. I wondered how it would have happened.